And thanks so much for tuning into the Daily Dose for Spiritual Growth. Today is Thursday, and we're going to dive into Exodus chapter 23. We actually have several verses that I want to cover as it goes right along with my message from this past Sunday. If you happen to miss it, I encourage you to go back and watch the message from this past Sunday at Shrewsbury Assembly. You're on our Facebook or YouTube. All you have to do is go on their live videos and then watch the message or watch the whole service. I encourage you to do that. They'll go right along with it. I'll talk about that in just a second. But I wanted to go a few verses prior to that as a challenge to all of us. Exodus chapter 23, starting in verse 8. Again, he's talking about these rules and regulations, talking about how we can honor God. And God obviously knows what's best for us. And God knows what's best for his people back in the day, the Israelites. And he's saying, hey, set the standard high here. And in verse 8, he says this: take no bribes, for a bribe makes you ignore something that you clearly see. A bribe makes even a righteous person twist the truth. Have you ever taken a bribe before? Have you ever covered up something to help another person out and said, hey, I won't, so maybe somebody even blackmailed you, or someone like said, hey, I will give you this if you don't, rat on me. I'm going to read that one more time. Take no bribes, for a bribe makes you ignore something that you clearly see. A bribe makes even a righteous person twist the truth. Verse 9. You must not oppress foreigners. You know what it's like to be a foreigner, for you yourselves were once foreigners in the land of Egypt. Plant and harvest your crops for 6 years, but let the land be renewed and lie uncultivated during the 7th year. Then let the poor among you harvest whatever grows on its own. Leave the rest for wild animals to eat. The same applies to your vineyards and olive groves. So this is where the challenge from this past Sunday, and talking about a Sabbath, a day of rest. Verse 12 says this: you have 6 days each week for your ordinary work, but on the 7th day you must stop working. This gives your ox and your donkey a chance to rest. It also allows your slaves and your foreigners living among you to be refreshed. Pay close attention to all my instructions. You must not call on the name of any other gods. Do not even speak their names. And so Sunday, I talked about how Sabbath is the antidote to this whole consumeristic society. And I need to go, I need to achieve, I need to accomplish, and all those things are good. We should be effective, we should be efficient, we should work hard. But one thing that we shouldn't do is that we shouldn't put our value on what we can do and what we can produce. We need to put our value in who God is and who God created us to be, his agents, his ambassadors. And what Sabbath does is putting our trust and reliance on God, who is our ultimate provider. So let's not allow this consumeristic society of you have to do this to get that, and part of that is true, but let's not have that be our value. And let's not neglect our time of rest, our time of true dependency upon our true provider. Let that be an encouragement to you today. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for the Daily Dose for Spiritual Growth.